Tottenham Hotspur have been heavily linked to Leroy Sané of Bayern Munich, but the player wants in excess of £250,000 per week. Reports are stating that West Bromwich Albion want to speak to Tottenham's Ryan Mason about becoming their new head coach. 3 players will leave the club this summer. A decision will be made on Ben Davies next week. Timo Werner will return to RB Leipzig, and the latest on Tell's situation. And Sky Sports have stated that Atletico Madrid are expected to make a move for Christian Romero. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. My name is Chris Cowlin, and this is another episode of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do the subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do the follow button and leave a review if you can. I'd just like to take this opportunity to say thank you to the 6,000 new subscribers in the last few weeks on this channel. We're now up to 171,000 subscribers on YouTube. A simply incredible number. So thank you so much for all of your incredible support. And I'd also like to thank the 12 million people that have pressed that play button on this channel in the last 4 weeks. So let's start by talking about a couple of international call-ups. Richarlison has been named in Carlo Ancelotti's first Brazil squad for next month's FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Ecuador and Paraguay. With 20 goals in 48 caps in his international career, Rich's latest call-up marks a long-awaited return to the national team, having not been selected since March 2024 and not played since October 2023 after enduring a challenging time with injuries in recent seasons. Ben Davies and Brennan Johnson have just been selected by Wales for their upcoming FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifiers next month. They will be facing Liechtenstein at home and Belgium away. Former Tottenham Hotspur boss Jose Mourinho is talking to Sky Sports about Spurs winning the Europa League. He said the impact is obvious. Tottenham play Champions League football, and of course for Mr. Levy, the millions that the Champions League brings and gives for him is the best news. For the fans, for the players, for Ange, it is a title. Tottenham Hotspur goalkeeper Vicario has just been shortlisted for the Premier League's Save of the Season prize, having won the April edition of the monthly edition of the award for his incredible one-handed stop to deny Chelsea's Jadon Sancho in our April trip to Stamford Bridge. The goalkeeper has now been nominated for the season title. And more news on Vicario. Spurs goalkeeper Vicario has withdrawn from the latest Italy national team squad over physical concerns. Now a report about Christian Romero. This one is from Sky Sports. They are stating that Atletico Madrid are expected to approach Tottenham over the signing of Romero, and it could happen as early as next week. Atletico Madrid want to talk with Spurs chairman Daniel Levy with the intention of negotiating a deal. Diego Simeone is understood to be keen to sign new players before the Club World Cup begins in June. However, it is not clear whether Daniel Levy will be willing to discuss the sale of Romero after Spurs won the Europa League to qualify for next season's Champions League. The report then goes on to say that Romero still has 2 years left on his deal at Spurs, and manager Ange Postecoglou, although not assured of his own Spurs future at this stage, has urged the club to keep hold of the Argentina World Cup winner. Sources in Spain have told Sky Sports News that Atletico Madrid are believed to be willing to pay around £38 million, the equivalent of €45 million for him, but believe that Tottenham value him in excess of £49 million, the equivalent of £58 €58 million. Other reports in Spain have claimed that Spurs value him as high as £59 million, the equivalent of €70 million. Romero did not play in Tottenham's final game of the season against Brighton, as Tottenham finished 17th in the table with their lowest ever Premier League points total of 38. The 27-year-old said earlier this year that he would love to play in La Liga, and that going to new places was in his thinking. Now, Press Association and Sky Sports have stated that several players are set to exit Tottenham Hotspur this summer. Goalkeepers Fraser Forster and Alfie Whiteman will depart alongside left-back Sergio Reguilon, who has made only 6 appearances for the club in the last 3 years. Ben Davies is also out of contract in June, but Spurs hold the option to extend his deal by a further 12 months, and a decision is expected by next week. The reports then go on to say that Tottenham will not trigger the option in Timo Werner's loan, with the ex-Chelsea forward to return to RB Leipzig after a poor second spell. A call is also required on the option to turn Matisse Tell's loan from Bayern Munich into a permanent deal. Tell scored 3 times in 20 appearances for Spurs, and while there is a deadline to trigger the option, no decision is expected before the early summer transfer window of the 1st to the 10th of June. Now, another report from Sky Sports, they are stating that Leroy Sané has rejected a contract offer from Bayern Munich amid links to Tottenham. The 29-year-old representatives are in contract renewal talks with the Bundesliga champions, and an offer worth up to £250,000 a week, including bonuses, has not been accepted. Premier League clubs would be reluctant to pay wages at that level for a player who will be 30 in January. Tottenham had been offered the chance to sign the player this summer. If he moves to England, he would prefer to be in London for family reasons. Bayern Munich want the player to stay, but they are not expected to increase their offer. And Turkish champions Galatasaray are also interested, although a move to Turkey is unlikely at present. Another report published by Sky Sports, they are stating that West Bromwich Albion are expected to approach Tottenham this week requesting permission to speak to Ryan Mason. The West Midlands club want to talk to him about becoming their new head coach, but it is not clear what Tottenham's position on the matter will be. Ryan Mason is among Ange Postecoglou's assistants and has been on the coaching staff at Spurs since 2018. Now for some Spurs women news. Ella Morris has suffered an ACL injury in her right knee. The defender sustained the injury during a training session while on international camp with England and will now undergo surgery. Ella will then commence her rehabilitation process with the Tottenham Hotspur medical staff. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about the Sky Sports report stating that Atletico Madrid are expected to make a move for Christian Romero. This one is going to be a very, very interesting situation. Will Christian Romero want to stay on at Spurs, having won the Europa League and we are back in the Champions League? Now, of course, he has stated his desire to go and play in La Liga before, during this season. But does this make a difference that Spurs have actually won a trophy? And does it make a huge difference if Ange Postecoglou stays at the football club for a third season? Because we all know his relationship, he has a very close one with Ange Postecoglou and they get on extremely well. Now, will Atletico Madrid place an offer? I feel like that is going to be the most interesting thing to happen if they do actually place a firm offer. But from what we all understand here, and Sky Sports have stated it as well, Daniel Levy at the moment is very reluctant to speak to anyone about Christian Romero, in particular Atletico Madrid, and apparently he's not taking any calls and he doesn't want to entertain any conversation. I love to hear that, because Ange Postecoglou in a recent press conference has come out and said that the club need to keep people like Christian Romero at the club. And I completely agree. If you want to, win trophy after trophy, and let's face it, we've tasted this success. It has been absolutely wonderful. This last week has been the best week of my Tottenham Hotspur supporting life. And I want to feel like that again. And I tell you what, if we are going to feel like that again, we need players like Romero. And Ange Postecoglou actually said, well, if you sell a player like Romero, who on earth are you bringing in? And I completely agree, because he is a top quality defender. I'd love to see him and Van de Ven play many, many games together next season, and I feel like it would be a very different league season as well with him at the back with Mickey Van de Ven, because I feel like both of them are so important to Ange Postecoglou's system. They are so important to this Tottenham Hotspur starting 11. And let's face it, whenever we're putting out our best team, both of them two are at the back. And Romero, he started as captain in the cup final. I feel like he's a very, very important player for Spurs. So I certainly do not want to be seeing him leave. And Romero's put some encouraging comments on social media, on Instagram in the last couple of days, saying, this is the path. This is the path that we're on and we must continue. And I completely agree with those comments. Does that sound like someone that wants out this summer? I don't believe it does. They're talking about players who will be leaving the football club. Sergio Reguilon out of contract. He waved goodbye to a number of fans. He said his goodbyes to a number of players at the end of season game against Brighton at the lap of appreciation. Alfie Whiteman, Fraser Forster, it looks like they're heading out the door as well, because both of them two are out of contract. Timo Werner will be going back to RB Leipzig. Completely agree with that, because it's just been so poor. Timo Werner, that second loan spell, so poor. Wish him all of the very best in the future. It'll be interesting to see who he goes to next and how he gets on. But yeah, that simply just didn't work out. Matisse Tell, have we seen enough from him to sign him on a permanent basis? I know Ange Postecoglou has been extremely enthusiastic and complimentary about him. I just wanted to see a little bit more, if I'm honest, for that kind of money. If Spurs could get him cheaper, I feel like the club would probably want to do the deal. But are there better players out there for that sort of money, even if it was 30 million euros? I think that there probably are better players out there for that sort of price. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Ben Davies, I believe that Spurs will trigger that 12-month option for him. So I would think that we would get an announcement very soon. And one of the main reasons I say that is because Spurs would have made a bit of a fuss about Ben Davies, it being his last game, his last appearance in a Spurs shirt on Sunday against Brighton, and there wasn't any of that. So I fully expect that Spurs will be putting out an announcement soon that Ben Davies has signed a 12-month extension, or they've triggered the 12-month extension, and he'll be at the club for another season. And you know what? I'm going to say it again. Players like Son, players like Ben Davies, who have given so much to this football club. Ben Davies is an underrated player, in my opinion. He is a player that takes, or has taken, a lot of stick over the years. And he has always been a solid defender, a player that never really makes any mistakes at all. You always get a consistent performance from him. And I feel like the criticism aimed at Ben Davies is completely uncalled for. And he is a player that you can always depend on. And I tell you what, every single manager who has been at Spurs for the last 10 years or so, they have all complimented him. They have all relied on him. They have played him, when fit and available. And, the perfect professional, in my opinion. And, it's not only about being on the pitch sometimes. Ben Davies has, even done his coaching badge as well. So he is an excellent person to have in that dressing room. And, even on the sidelines for the Europa League final, he was willing his teammates on. He was constantly talking to them. I know that because it was right in front of me, especially in those last 10, 15 minutes of that game, which was vitally important. So it's very important to have voices, of experience as well in the dressing room. So Ben Davies is definitely one of those guys. So that leads me on to talk about Leroy Sané. He wants in excess of £250,000 per week wages. Will Spurs pay that? Will Spurs pay that sort of money on a long-term contract for a player that does turn 30 in January? I can't see this happening, if I'm completely honest. I would like to see Leroy Sané in a Spurs shirt. I do think he has got excellent experience in the Premier League, in Champions League, in Europe, etc. And I feel like he would add a lot to our attacking line in that final third. But sadly, I can't see that one happening. And lastly, the report about Ryan Mason just about to have talks with West Bromwich Albion. I feel like this is a move just waiting to happen. And when I say that, I mean Ryan Mason going to a club and becoming the permanent manager of the football club. Of course, he's had 2 spells at Spurs as caretaker boss, and I felt like he'd done a great job both of those occasions, and he dealt with the media extremely well, especially when there was all that speculation about Harry Kane leaving Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And I know that the media were very, very impressed by his handling of the media and the difficult questions that he had at the time. So, and also we know that last season he was very close to joining Anderlecht, but that didn't quite happen. But I just feel like, you know, he is waiting for the right offer. And let's face it, 33 years old, Ryan Mason. He has learnt a lot. You know, he's got a lot of experience already, but he's only 33. He is still learning a lot. But I tell you what, for a first permanent job to join West Bromwich Albion, I think it would be a great move for him. But of course, Ange Postecoglou, of course, lost Chris Davis last season. So, you know, a manager has to make those adjustments in his coaching staff. So, you know, more work for Ange Postecoglou in terms of finding a coach that he really believes in and who he wants to work with and who he wants to bring in at Tottenham. I always think it's quite difficult for managers to keep replacing coaches, first team coaches, etc., because you know, they're there every day. These people can't be easy replacements. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do the follow button and leave a review if you can. Enjoy the rest of your week and come on you Spurs.